In the previous class, we have discussed about the basic of fluid mechanics, in which we have discussed different type of fluid flow, and subsequently we also discussed little bit about viscosity. Now, in this class, we will discuss about the factor which affect the viscosity. So there are mainly two factors which affect the viscosity. First one is temperature and another one is pressure. We will take cases of gases as well as liquid. So first we will, for example, we take the case of gas. So how viscosity affect the gas viscosity? So first one is the effect of temperature on gas viscosity. So when temperature increases, the viscosity will also increase. You can see in this equation the mu by mu naught equal to T upon 273 raised to power n. Here mu is viscosity at absolute temperature and mu 0 is viscosity at 273 Kelvin, or you can say at 0 degree centigrade. And this n is a constant and its value vary from 0 to 0.65 to 1. So in this equation we can calculate the effect of temperature on gas viscosity. Now second one is effect of pressure on gas viscosity. Normally the gas viscosity is independent of pressure at low to moderate pressure, but when pressure increases, the effect of pressure play a significant role, and at higher pressure near critical point the gas viscosity increases with pressure. So when temperature and pressure increases, the gas viscosity is also increases. Now in case of liquid viscosity decreases significantly when the temperature is raised. In case of gases, the gas viscosity increase with temperature, but on the other hand, in case of liquid, the gas viscosity decreases with increase in temperature. And the effect of pressure, at higher pressure the viscosity of liquid increases with pressure. So effect of pressure is similar in case of gas as well as in case of liquid, and gas viscosity increases with increase in pressure. But this effect of pressure occur only at high pressure. At low to moderate pressure, the viscosity is independent of the pressure. So these are some of the example. So in this, if you can see, this is the viscosity of liquid. The example is water, and this one is viscosity of air or gas. So if you can see, if temperature is increasing, the liquid viscosity decreases. On the other hand, in case of gas, when temperature increases, the gas viscosity increases. So if you move from upward to downward direction, the gas viscosity is increasing. So when temperature increases, the gas viscosity also increases. But on the other hand, the liquid viscosity decreases with increase in temperature. These are again some of the example of liquid metals. So in this case also, when there is an increase in temperature, the gas viscosity decreases. You can take any example like this. The temperature is increasing, the gas viscosity decreases. So that was the effect of temperature and pressure on gas viscosity. Now moving to the next topic, which is turbulence. Now the turbulence is a mass of eddies of various size coexisting in the fluid stream. Large eddies are continuously formed. They break down to smaller eddies and finally disappear. So the type of turbulence are, they may be wall turbulence and free turbulence. The wall turbulence is due to the effect of solid wall on the fluid. This type occur due to contact between fluid and solid boundary. The example is flow of fluid through closed or open channel, or flow of fluid around solid particle. So there are some roughness of the surfaces. So eddies formation due to hindrance in the streamline of the fluid, or due to some roughness of the solid surface. So this type of turbulence due to solid wall is called wall turbulence. On the second type of turbulence is free turbulence. This type occur due to contact between two layers of a fluid flowing at different velocity, or contact between two fluid flowing at different velocities. So you can say the fluid is flowing in form of fluid layers. So the eddy formation due to these fluid layers in single phase fluid is called free turbulence. Or if there are the other cases, if there are two phase of fluids, they may be two immiscible liquid, or one gas and one liquid. So this type of turbulence due to fluid layers is called free turbulence. Now Reynolds number is a very important parameter to measure the, or to evaluate the fluid condition, whether the fluid is laminar, turbulent, or in transition state. It represents the ratio between inertial force and viscous force, and this Reynolds number depends upon the diameter of tube, the average velocity of the fluid, and physical property of fluid like its density and viscosity. The formula for Reynolds number is rho nu d upon mu, rho v d upon mu. This rho is density of the fluid, v is velocity of the fluid, d is diameter of the pipe, and mu is the viscosity of the fluid. Now on the basis of the value of Reynolds number, we can determine the flow condition of the fluid, whether it's laminar, turbulent, or in transition region. For example, for internal flow, if the Reynolds number value is less than 2100, then the flow is laminar, and if its value is more than 4000, then the fluid will be turbulent, and if its value lie between 2100 and 4000, then the fluid is in transition state. In case of external flow, like flow past flat plate, if the Reynolds number value is less than 2 into 10 to the power 5, then the flow is laminar, and if the value of Reynolds number is more than 3 into 10 to the power 6, then the flow is turbulent, and if its value lie between these two values, then we can say the fluid is in transition state. Now if you see the formula of Reynolds number, in the previous slide, the formula was Reynolds number equal to rho v d upon mu, where d was the diameter of the pipe. This d is actually the characteristic length, depend upon the shape. For example, this characteristic length depend on solid body which is in contact with the fluid. For example, for fluid in pipe or tubes, L is the pipe or tube diameter, and if the flow past flat plate, in that case L is the plate length in the flow direction. On the other hand, if the solid surface is a sphere, then L is the diameter of sphere, and for other geometry L is equivalent diameter as it will be seen later. So this L is actually characteristic length. In case of pipe, the characteristic length is the diameter of the pipe, so we use rho v d upon mu, otherwise we will use the characteristic length. Now the boundary layer. So boundary layer is the region where viscosity has significant effect. So if you can see in this diagram, if you can see in this region, the downward region, in this region the viscosity effect is significant. You can see the fluid is flowing, fluid is making different fluid layers, and there are velocity profiles. It means the viscosity effect is significant within this region. So this region is called boundary layer, and free stream region is the region outside the boundary layer. So this region outside the boundary layer where viscosity effect is not significant. If you can see in this region, there are no velocity profile and no velocity variation between different layers. So this region is called free stream region. So all the changes in velocity occur in a very thin layer of fluid adjacent to the solid surface, and part of moving fluid in which the fluid motion is influenced by the presence of a solid boundary. So in this region only we have significant effect of the presence of this solid wall. So there are mainly three constituents of boundary layer. One is viscous sublayer. The one is this viscous sublayer in which the viscosity effect is maximum. Here the fluid layer are perfectly moving past to each other. So if you can see, there are perfect fluid layers moving on one another and making a perfect velocity profile. Then there are some turbulence start. For example, in this region some turbulence starts, and there are some movement of the fluid in this upper direction also. In the viscous sublayer the fluid is unidirectional, but when some turbulence starts, then the fluid also start moving in other direction also. So there are small turbulence started, so this region is called onset of turbulence. And after that the third region is called turbulent flow in boundary layer, in which there are significant disturbance in the fluid layer. So these are three regions in the boundary layer. Now in this the two parameter is important. One is the thickness of the boundary layer. So this one is the thickness of the boundary layer. The second one is the length of the boundary layer, means this length up to which the boundary layer reaches to the maximum height, or up to the point when the fluid is fully developed. The fluid layer are fully developed. So for example, here fluid layer start forming, their thickness start increasing, and after that the fluid is fully developed. So this is the length of fluid layer. So this distance is called x, and this thickness of the fluid layer is called delta, the thickness of boundary layer and the length of the boundary layer. So boundary layer thickness is defined as the distance from the wall to the point of 99% of the mean free stream velocity. And calculation of boundary layer thickness. So for laminar boundary layer, delta upon x equal to 5 into Reynolds number raised to power 0.5. Here delta is thickness of the boundary layer and x is the distance. Similarly, for transition region, delta upon x equal to c into Reynolds number raised to power 0.5. Here c is the constant which depend upon the velocity profile in the boundary layer. And for turbulent flow, delta upon x equal to 0.37 into Reynolds number raised to power minus 0.2, where x is the distance from the leading edge and delta is the boundary layer thickness. Now boundary layer formation in straight tube. So when a fluid enter a tube, a boundary layer begin to form at the wall of tube. So at this point, the layer start to form at this point. If you can see, the boundary layer just start to form. As the fluid move through the tube, the layer thickness, and during this stage the boundary layer occupy part of the tube. So when the fluid move, the boundary layer thickness start increasing. So at this point, at the initial state, the boundary layer thickness was minimum. So as fluid move, this boundary layer thickness start increasing. And at a point well downstream from the entrance, the boundary layer reaches the center of the tube. So it start increasing, and this boundary layer thickness ultimately touch the center of the tube. At this point, the velocity profile in the tube reaches its final form and the flow is called fully developed region. So if you can see in this second graph, now the thickness is reached to maximum and we finally get perfect velocity profile. So in this region we can say the fluid is fully developed. It means the flow with constant velocity profile. Now the fluid is fully developed and we get constant velocity profile. So this one will be the constant velocity profile. So it will be same if fluid move in the positive direction. So here the fluid layer are moving, all fluid layer are moving at same velocity, but when fluid enter into the pipe, the layer which is in contact with the solid surface moving with zero velocity, and their subsequent layers start moving at a faster rate, and finally we get a velocity profile in which the middle the layer which is near to the center of the pipe is moving at a fastest rate, and the layer which is away from the center of the pipe is moving with a slow rate. Due to this velocity variation, the velocity profile forms, and ultimately this boundary layer thickness reaches to the center of the pipe, and after that we can say the fluid is fully developed and we will get perfect velocity profile as seen in this diagram. So the length required for the boundary layer to reach the center of tube and for fully developed flow to be established is called the transition length or entrance length. So for laminar flow, it's x upon d equal to 0.05 into Reynolds number. So if this x is this in this diagram, so this one is the x, this one is the x. Now the boundary layer separation and wake formation. So if any hindrance occur in the free flow of the fluid, the wake formation takes place. Wake formation and some eddy formations occurs. So this hindrance can be due to several effects, like if there is sudden expansion and contraction in the fluid direction, change in flow channel by sudden expansion and sudden contraction. Second, if there are sharp bend. Third one, if there is any obstruction around which the fluid must flow. They may be like some bend, elbow, T, etc. So boundary layer separation occur whenever the change in velocity of the fluid, either in magnitude or direction, is too large for the fluid to adhere the solid surface. So these are some of the reasons for these changes in the boundary layer separation. Zone large eddy called vortices are formed. This zone is known as the wake. They consume considerable mechanical energy and may lead to a large pressure loss in the fluid. Now if you can see in this example, in the first example, this solid plate is vertically placed, so this causes significant amount of eddy formation because it creates lots of hindrance to the free flow of the liquid. On the other hand, in the second example, the shape of the solid surface is such that there are minimum hindrance in the free flow of fluid layers, and there are only minute disturbance occur in the fluid flow. So we get minimum turbulence. So because these turbulence cause energy loss, so it is very important to minimize the wake formation or eddy formation in the free flow of the fluid. So the question is how to minimize boundary layer separation. So first is by avoiding sharp change in the cross section area of the fluid flow, like avoid sudden expansion and sudden contraction. And second one, as explained in this diagram, by streamlining any object over which the fluid must flow. But there are some situations in which we actually required these wake and eddy formations. For example, if we want to increase heat transfer rate, then we require maximum turbulence in the fluid flow, because if the fluid is turbulent, then the heat transfer coefficient value will be larger. So in that case, we put some hindrance in the fluid flow so that we get maximum turbulence. For example, in case of heat exchanger, we use baffles for maximum turbulence so that the heat transfer rate increases. So this is the end of today's class. Thank you.